Today I want to talk about something that actually happened last week, and it was an example of someone being a people pleaser to me, and it perfectly demonstrated what is wrong with people pleasing. I'm talking about this extensively in my next book, The Naked Truth, which should be coming out soonish. There's a certain tendency people pleasers have to give advice and to help without being asked. Call it unsolicited support. We all do it, us people pleasers. As soon as we see someone struggling, we dive on top of it. We dive on that ball and save the game. And we consider ourselves to be good people for doing it. I want to talk about an incident that happened to me just the other day. So here I am, I'm in the Czech Republic. I've been here for a few years now, and I'm really struggling to learn the language. I can't remember the last time I found something this difficult to learn. Maybe I'm getting older, maybe it's just a complicated language. I don't know, but I'm struggling. So it's quite a big deal for me to actually go out in public and try to speak Czech because I just do it so poorly. And in the town that I'm in, they're not used to foreigners who try to speak Czech. On one hand, they're stoked that I try, they find it like a sign of respect, I guess. And it's just unusual and amusing for them because it never happens. But on the other hand, they're inexperienced in dealing with someone who Czech is their second language. And so they don't speak to me in a way that kind of helps. They don't speak slow enough, for example, or they use complicated words and slang that I don't understand. And I don't hold that against them. I mean, they don't know how to deal with me because I'm this weird new guy. I wanted to get some gardening tools. I've decided to potter around the garden like the old grandpa that I am. And I wanted to get some weed killer specifically for the nettles that we've got here and some basic just garden tools. I don't have any of them. I went to the store and I putted around for a bit. I was a bit nervous because the thing I had to ask for, like weed killer with a spray gun, that's fairly advanced Czech for me. I'm used to like talking about coffee and, what a nice day it is and how old I am. And here I am asking for a complicated item that I'd struggle to figure out how to ask for in English. So I thought, no, fuck it. I've got to give it a go, live by my values, courage, etc. So I went up and I started in very broken Czech asking for the spray for nettles and for a spray gun or a spraying device of some kind. I later confirmed with Lucy that I was actually doing a pretty good job. I was saying the right things. They were just looking at me weird because I wasn't talking like a normal person. I think most people think I'm a bit slow or something. They don't realize that I'm someone who doesn't know how to speak Czech. They just think I just don't know how to talk or something. I don't know. They look at me weird, some of them. Anyway, I was doing my best and I thought I was doing all right, and it was an important event for me to get out there with these new strange people who are being like, they're looking at me in this judgmental way, but I just keep powering through. And then one of them said English, and she guessed that English was my first language and kind of caught me off guard. And I said, yes. And then she just completely switched to English. This is people pleasing. She saw that I was struggling. She was bilingual. And rather than let me struggle, she assumed I wanted to speak English instead. She assumed that. And then without any permission from me, without any consultation with me, she then insisted on speaking English for the rest of our interaction. And I was kind of flustered and caught off guard, and I kept trying to bring it back to Czech. I kept responding to her in my broken Czech, and she just doggedly hung on to English. And I think you could kind of tell from her body language, at least I thought so, she was trying to help me. She wasn't doing this because she was pissed off with my poor language skills. I think the other one was. There was two of them there. The other one was like a grumpy older woman. But this one, I think she was just trying to be kind and helpful and a good shopkeeper. She was people-pleasing. She was trying to please me, trying to make things more comfortable for me. Had she taken but a second to check in with me about what I really wanted, I would have told her I'm trying to practice Czech. Her speaking English does not help me. That's not what I want. I'm not even that interested in buying gardening shit. I wanted to practice Czech. And she took that away from me. She took that growth opportunity away from me. She took that training opportunity away from me. To this day, she'll be telling herself what a good person she is for doing that. And yet, I resent her a little bit for doing that. Now I don't hold it against her personally. I know her reasoning in her head makes total sense. She's a slave to that reasoning. She thinks she's a good person for doing this. And I empathize or sympathize, really. I know what it's like to just feel the urge, just help all the time. Not even check in that someone needs help, just dive on it. I had to really work through that in my relationship with Lucy in particular. If she showed signs of distress or struggle in any way, I'd immediately just barrage her with solutions. As the old people pleaser would come back. For us nice guys, it always comes out the worst in intimate relationships. And it came back for me with Lucy, and I had to really work through it. I had to step back, let her struggle, let her suffer. If she wants help, offer it, but don't insist. Ask, how can I help you? Not, here's how you should do it. And so when I had it done to me, I could see what it's really like to receive people pleasing. It's fucking awful. It's annoying, frustrating. You feel judged. You feel like a child who's being patronized. And this poor woman thinks that she's being a good person, being helpful, and she basically ruined the gardening experience for me. That is the truth about people pleasing. You're telling yourself that you're a good person, and yet what you're really doing is disabling people and depriving them of growth opportunities. Now, that doesn't mean you should be callous and you should never help anybody and never give advice and just never support anyone. That's too far the other direction. All you have to do is check in, ask permission, figure out what the person really needs, not what you think they need because you judge them as weak. Understand some people are actually struggling for a good reason and the struggle helps them. Some people are experiencing painful emotions, but they need to experience them. They don't need someone like you to come in and be a hero and steal that growth away from them. Now, I'm guilty of committing that crime a million times over. I have lost track of how many times I have stolen growth from people with my insistence on helping and controlling their emotions. And I try my very best these days to not do it. It's actually quite a challenge as a coach because people are actually paying me to help them, and yet it's still not in their best interest that I do it for them or that I control them. But always passing that ball back to them and say, what do you think is best? What do you think we should talk about? What would you do in this situation if I wasn't here? And so on. So I just want to share that story. I received a good chunk of people pleasing the other day. I mean, I see it all the time. People do it to me all the time. But that one really stood out to me because I was just bummed out that I didn't get to practice my Czech, that she stole that away from me and that she has no idea that she did that. And really the resentments towards myself, I guess. It was an opportunity for me to say, no, please speak Czech. I want to practice. But she caught me in a kind of vulnerable moment. I was already quite vulnerable in practicing the Czech. My defenses were down and I just didn't have that kind of confrontational ability at that moment. And I just gave in to the comfort that she offered. And that's the problem, I guess, with people pleasing is so often the person accepts the help. So you assume that that's evidence that you did a good thing, when in reality they felt like they were force-fed that help and they just didn't have the balls in that moment to tell you to back down. Food for thought. It certainly is for me, both being the receiver and the giver of people pleasing. It's a double whammy lesson for me. Hope you found that helpful. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and share this around. And of course, any of you can get in touch with me, dan@brojo.org, if you want further support with this. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.